Okay, so we're going to do it slightly more informally. Instead of me introducing all of you, I'm going to have you do it yourself. So we'd like to know what organization you work for, how long you've been there, and anything else interesting you'd like to tell us. Raymond, you want to start?
Yes, Raymond van Eck. So I'm CEO at Uvia, formerly known as DTG. I worked there since May 2020. Before that, a long background in mainly utilities, within corporates and my own companies. Yeah, what's there to tell, what you don't know. Married, 3 kids, live in Amsterdam, and now here at Mallorca, having a good time.
Thanks.
Hello from me. From my side, I'm Athanasios Ravis. I'm the CEO of Greek Yellow Pages. As maybe most of you used to be a printed catalog many years ago and transformed to a digital agency the last 10 years. We have 3 main business units in my organization. We have our directory, which accounts actually more than 65% of our revenues and more than 70% of our margin. We have the website unit, and also we have the PPC unit in our organization. We employ more than 250 people. And regarding my personal info, I work in Athens, so the headquarters of the company is in Athens, and I live in Thessaloniki. My family is there, so I have to travel every week back and forth. So, thank you.
Thanks. Alfonso?
Hi, everyone. Well, firstly, I would have to say maybe I'm the only Spanish here, so welcome to Spain.
Thank you.
Welcome
Gracias.
Welcome to Mallorca. Mallorca is one of the nicest places to do events, so congratulations to Cinda to invite you here, and I hope you are going to enjoy the time. Regarding myself, I'm Alfonso Gay. I'm working in data-centric solutions. Data-centric solutions is a data and technology company. We are dedicated mainly only to data, B2B and B2C. We are part of the TINSA Group. TINSA Group is one of the most important real estate appraisals company all over the world. We are in Europe, in Spain mainly, Germany and Netherlands, and in all Latin America, and we are the leaders. So our activity is to treat data, to get data, and to help clients to make decisions. We are not doing advertising. Well, the only we are doing is to treat the data to help the clients to make better decisions. And we are now joining some data quality companies we have acquired all over Europe and Latin America.
Thanks. Stefano?
Hi, John. Thanks for inviting me here. Hi, everybody. I'm Stefano Santinelli. I represent Local Search. I've been the CEO in the Swisscom Directories for the last 6 years. We're about 800 people in Switzerland, very small country, very rich country. So that's why we managed to be profitable. It's been, 6 quite good years. Personally, I'm passionate about not data, but technology. So I'm also founder of an artificial intelligence startup in the south of Switzerland. So I'm very glad to talk about data and AI and all these kind of things.
Okay, so we'll get to the data and AI portion. But Stefano, let's start with you. Best decision you made in the last 12 months? Best decision you've made in the last 12 months?
I think the best decision is to decide some major steps, really decide very quickly. Not all decisions were good. The best decision was to expand very aggressively into verticals. We started seeing that all our directories are worthless and will be worthless in the future. They will disappear. And so we started about 2 years ago investing heavily in verticalizing all our offering. And the last 12 years, we bought 2 companies, one in the handyman space, where now we managed to have about 5–7% of our revenues coming from that. And the other one to expand in municipalities with a brand new acquisition that we announced 2 months ago. And we're now the #1 service provider for digital communication for municipalities in Switzerland, which is easy because it's a small market. There are 2,000 municipalities, 1,200 of them are our customers.
For the municipalities, do you have a different sales force going after that?
We have a different sales force going after that. We have the same. We share some platform, we share some services, but it's a completely different sales force for municipalities and for the verticals. It's really having 2 sales force in the market is pretty cool.
And for the other verticals, like the handyman vertical, is the UX the same as the existing directory, or have you changed the UX
it's a completely different brand, it's a completely different platform, and we actually have a big end-demand portal, and we have 55 emerging verticals. So, we cloned this approach for every vertical, health, well-being, restaurants, gastro, and so on. And it's a completely different UI, completely different focus. On the traditional directories, we focus a lot on impressions, getting the listing, the complete listing. In the verticals, we focus about conversion, getting the performance, delivering a business to our customers, where we really talk about, how many business transactions did you have from our services all up, including the marketplaces. So it's really the marketplace approach a la Thumbtack or Booking.com or Just Eat, and not the traditional directory service.
So it's a curated approach instead of throwing 1,000 different results on the SERP.
Yes.
So, Raymond, you've had a pretty interesting time with owned and operated directories as well. What are you guys doing in the Netherlands with your existing directories business?
Well, at the moment, we are basically starting that up again. So, like the past 3 years, just before I came in, basically directories for us was quite, how would you say that? It was a business there, but we did not really invest in it, and we did not give it a lot of attention, because we really wanted to make the shift towards more online marketing services for SMBs. So talking about decisions you've made, one of the decisions we now made is also to revive that business again, by basically going back to our platform and trying to, basically go to the Yellow Page 2.0, as we call it internally. What we are trying to do is really to get back into that listing business, because we see, for instance, in the Netherlands, other competitors are basically starting. And when they are asked from journalists, what is the business that you do, and they cannot describe it quite properly, they basically say, yeah, we are just like the Gouden Gids, so the Yellow Pages. And when I'm reading that, I'm really thinking like, what the F? We are the Yellow Pages, so why shouldn't we just revive that again? Because we see that that brand is pretty much, it has a good brand connotation in the Netherlands, positive. So that's something that we are looking into and trying to revive now. And through that, we had some interesting times the past 2 years, as you said. We've changed ownership. So in March, we were bought by FCR Media Group. And before that, we were on the European directories. So it's quite a transformation and a transition that we are in.
All right, so let's try and figure this one out. In Switzerland, we've got directories where Stefano thinks, that thing's dead. It's dying, but it will be dead soon. And in the Netherlands, we've got another business who sees significant potential and is trying to build it up. So it's quite interesting, because I would say, and you guys could disagree with this, the Swiss market is less competitive for local search than the Dutch market, just because of the sizes of the relative sizes of the business. So why do you think there's potential there, where, Stefano, the 800-pound gorilla in a huge market says, even us as huge market leaders won't be able to make this business profitable?
Because I think for us, it's a more basic to start from. So if you look towards it, you see that, for instance, in the Netherlands, in the digital market, customers do search for instance, a plumber or a lawyer, etc. They use Google, they get a diarrhea of results, mostly not with correct reviews, etc. And that's basically where we can come in. And we've tested that already with some of the consumers, like, okay, would you be able to, if we show up quite high in the rankings, would you be able then to, or would you consider going to the Gouden Gids and then search on that platform further for a plumber, etc. And the people are saying, okay, yeah, that could work for me. That's, for us, it's a sign to say, okay, that's something that we can build upon. But if you look at it from a business perspective, we have a large customer base still. And that base is still with us because of this listing business, because of the fact that we are basically providing these services to them, and to them it's still of value. It's not growing, but we also do see that with the right attention, we can at least stabilize it and then use it as a platform to basically sell other products that we still have in our portfolio. As you may know, our positioning is to be the one-stop shop for online marketing for SMBs. So that means that if we are talking to small, medium enterprises, not all of them are quite digitized yet. So as a starting point, they need to be online active. They need to have a listing. They need to not only on the yellow page, so to say, but also on location management. And that's a starting point for us to have this conversation with the customer to see if he is also able to take on other digital products.
So the situation, John, may I add that the situation is exactly the same in the Netherlands and Switzerland. We have a large customer base. We do cross-selling on the customer base. People are disappointed by the search of Google, and so exactly the same situation. The action we are taking is completely different. We see horizontal directory and listing has zero future at all. It's a good business today, but we have to manage this as a cash cow and make sure we migrate all these customers to something different. And the something different, in our case, it's verticals. We think that we will be the company providing, being the booking.com of the handyman in the future, being the booking.com of the health and well-being of the hairdressers and so on, which is a complete migration from the directory business in the past. That's the situation is, I think, in every of our market is the same. Yellow pages are there, a lot of customers, every year a bit less, a lot of users, every year a bit less. But we think in the future, we have the opportunity to have a future, a bright future, if we take these customers, acknowledge that the directories business is dead, and do something different and something new.
But
that's the approach we've been taking.
I do support that approach, because that is also the next step we are looking into, but we still need to take that first step to at least have this stable platform again.
Yeah,
and then
maybe
go into the
yes.
vertical. So I fully agree
Maybe
with you.
yes, maybe to say, okay, guys, this business is dead, let's milk the cow, and then move to something else.
It's a very, very interesting discussion for me, because the other difference here, I think, is the brand is exceptionally strong. In both countries, it used to be a lot stronger than the Netherlands, probably, than it is now. Stefan, are you using local search brand as a powered by in your verticals, or are you rebranding them completely?
Rebranding completely. If you look at the verticals, there is localsearch.ch, there is local.ch, completely different from renovero.ch, from Vergleich.ch. It's a completely different brand. Yeah. We think the brand equity is worth a lot in digital marketing, selling the campaigns and selling the presence and so on. It's worthless in the verticals. So we start fresh in the vertical. It's really a company within the company, different team, different people, different sales force, and we think that's where our future will be.
Okay, so the Greek market. Tell us about the future of directories in the Greek market, please.
Yeah, it's almost the same as in Swiss and in Netherlands, maybe in another scale, maybe. But actually, the pandemic has had a huge impact on the way that consumers interact with business and services. And actually, as we discussed extensively in Berlin, it's a great opportunity for us in order to, because SMB owners realized first time that they needed a strong digital presence. So what we do in my organization is try to identify what makes unique the SMB, what differentiates from the university, and actually the answer to this question may be the new service that we can add to our portfolio. And we have identified 4 basic characteristics in order to have a strong digital presence, the business owner, and work on that. The first of all is ownership. Ownership, we mean the need to own your branded result page for your business, for your products and services, to being omnipresent. And you are all aware about the Google's try to dominate the Google local search, and also the empowerment of vertical directories. It's very common in Greece. So we have to try harder and harder in order to prevail. Then we have consistency. Consistency, we mean the ability of users to find adequate, up-to-date information for your business in all premises. And we talk about reputation, so they need to be to participate in every dialogue that will take place, whether you like or not. I'm talking about reviews and the management of reviews, and also maximization. I mean, digital footprint is not enough. You have to generate impact and traffic to your company, direct and indirect, through automation, through advertising, and through content. So what we do in my organization, because demand was affected because of the pandemic, because of the economic crisis, we decided to implement a leads and a referral strategy the recent year. In order investing more than 50% of our revenue on that, and we try to find ways to acquire new customers. I mean, this is one solution that we try to in the problem, and also, of course, new business development is a key priority in our list.
Okay, got it. So, talk to us about how you're going about acquiring new customers differently today than you were maybe pre-pandemic. Is there a big difference?
I think customers, they are more price sensitive than they were in the past. That's for sure. And it's more difficult for our salespeople, even field sales or telesales, in order to close the meeting, close the call with the customer. That's also sure. So we try to find alternative ways in order to do that, and we do believe on that lead strategy. I mean, more than 30% of our sales in new customers are coming from the lead strategy. So it's a great number for us. And the main source of leads for our main source of leads is coming from the free listers. I mean, so directly related with the traffic of our site, who want to enrich their content, who want to read the articles, to read the testimonials, and to read the blog that we have decided. And we employ 2 persons in that project to update the data, to update the site, to monitor the PPC campaigns and Google and Facebook, the paid advertising, in order to attract leads. And also we have prepared a reporting mechanism in order to optimize the distribution of leads to the network. I mean, we follow the feeder producer approach. And also we conduct regular meetings between sales and marketing in order, to the revision, in order to find new ideas to develop, the strategy.
I'm sure Local Search is going to talk to us about some really interesting ways about how they're acquiring new customers. But Alfonso, what are some of the most interesting things you've seen about how companies are using data to get away from 100% reliance on new business to a personal or visiting sales force?
Well, our clients in Spain are big ones. We had to understand this. They are working in B2B and in B2C, first of all. In B2C, the situation is a little difficult with the RGPD and the law, and now there is a new law project in which more or less the project is going to say you can disturb the people calling them. So the situation will be difficult in the coming 2, 3, 4 months. In terms of B2B, there is an official source, which is the official bulletin in which the companies are registered. In Spain, there were in the past 2 different directories, white pages, maybe you understand this, what is this, and yellow pages. Yellow pages has been passing a very big difficult time in terms of economics with the Google, Facebook, LinkedIn, advertising, etc. Now it's a client of us, so they are using our information, in part of them, they have other providers too. What the companies are demanding us in terms of data? 2 things. First, data quality, which is very important. With the pandemic situation, there has been closed a lot of restaurants, shops, everyone knows. So first of all, data quality. Quick and a very clean database, because they are massive number of clients. So you are talking about telcos, utilities. So they have 100 of thousands of clients in B2B and millions in B2C. This is the first point. And the second one is data with quality, which is different. And the mix of both is what they are demanding. In terms of how they are exploiting the data, we have a platform. Now the data is not shared, it's not file to you, file to me, file to you, file to me. No, it's in cloud. They can consume whatever they want. They are not using all the data. They don't need all the data. And what they are demanding preferably is, what I would like to have is all the data available, and now via API, I'm taking whatever I want to do my different campaigns.
So the data's been available for some time, right? My view is it's not about the data, it's not about the aggregation of the data, it's about can companies, like a lot of the companies in the room, do we know how to use this data? Because, you know, APIs and everything is in the cloud, who cares where it is if we don't know how to take it, read it insightfully, and use it for acquisition or loyalty purposes. Stefano, how are you guys using data in the new businesses, maybe in the verticals? You've got a different sales force. How's your sales approach differ from the traditional sales approach that you used to use?
Yeah, I think we're not that good in using data, so I can share more pitfalls than best practices in using data. But the nice thing about the verticals is that the opportunity is so huge that you don't need data. You need a good product, you need a good liquid marketplace, making sure that your customers, the customers you acquire, get business after the marketplace, and so you don't really need data. So we really don't use data in the verticals. Where we use a lot of data, and I think where we've done some pretty interesting thing, is in the churn prevention of the existing customers. So only the B2B going in Salesforce and doing some data mining and building a machine learning powered churn prediction model that should help our sales force to avoid churn. So the sales rep, when they get up in the morning and they look in Salesforce, they see, you know, the opportunities and the leads and the expiring contracts, and then they see the lead scoring, the churn prediction model powered by machine learning. And what we did was we took our 30 years of contracts, and then we let them through a machine learning and artificial intelligence model, and the machine spits out every day the probability of churning for every customer. That's the only thing that I think we do pretty well for the use of data. We try to do some prediction, you know, the next best action, and which kind of cross-selling and so on. Didn't work. We don't have enough data. We try to use our B2B listing data. It's not enough deep. We try to use the B2C data on the marketplace. It's worthless because Google in Switzerland is generating one day more than the data, more valuable data than we used to have in the last 30 years. So the only thing we do is really going to Salesforce, into the CRM, and trying to predict the churn probability of every customers and feeding back the Salesforce with this data. Now, the most difficult thing is to get the salespeople to believe in the model. They see, you know, with 75% probability the customers will churn, and they say, well, I don't believe in the machine.
Not mine. I'm 25%, right?
Exactly. So they even tried some teams to sabotage the model, you know, feeding the model with wrong data and this kind of things. It's all kind of dysfunctional behavior. But we strongly believe in that. So, you know, we use every order that gets processed, you know, feeds the machine, and the machine learns based on the orders intake more than on the salespeople. And we hope in the future we will be able to convince the salespeople that that's a usable tool. Today, we're not there yet.
Without revealing too much, what are the sources of data that you're pulling from? So I've seen different companies in the audience try to do different things, like how often is a customer contacting us? What kind of performance are we providing to that customer? Does that all go into your churn model?
Yeah, there are 40 parameters. It seems very advanced, but it's pretty basic. There are 40 parameters that fit the model, and as every machine learning powered algorithm, it's a black box. You know, so you build the layers, and the machine learns, and you don't really know the drivers and so on. But it's 40 parameters, but it's basically all the data we had in the order management systems, the old one and the new ones. That's it. There is no data enrichment. There is no market data we buy. There is no external data we combine. There is no B2C interaction data we combine. It's really which customers bought which products at what point in time. And this is enough to predict churn with a pretty reasonable level. In the future, of course, we have all the ideas, you know, to enrich the data and buy the data and see whether the weather has an influence, the customer complaints case has an influence, and so on. For the moment, if we don't, you know, make the step one correctly, which is use our order data, then all the rest is nice to have. It's an expensive experiment otherwise.
According to my opinion, actually data management could be a major revenue stream for our organization, but I think there are so many challenges. First of all, it's the sheer volume of data. I think the more data is collected, the more monitoring and validation is needed. And then we have the multiple data storages. And when you keep data in a C-load system, it's difficult to identify, to consolidate in a universal platform. Then we have also the data quality. I mean, it's one of the most pressing issues confronting most of our organization. Data integration, data security. I'm talking about liability challenges regarding how data is stored, if misused or stolen. And also data privacy. I mean, data privacy regulation, I think, is the new normal in all major markets, and also research indicates the discrepancy between SMB's data privacy attitude and actual compliance. What I think there are three ways in order organization to use data. First of all, to use data for internal reasons in order to facilitate the decision making within the organization using BI systems, things like that. The second is to collect data by crawling thousands of websites, building business entities by merging and clustering information, then validate the information, make them available in order to sell this information. And finally, to collect data. I'm not sure that we are able to do that, actually, in our organization at that time, but we can collect data, analyze data, and provide this data to intermediaries. For example, in Greece, we provide data to a Greek personal assistant provider, and we get paid by usage. Mm-hmm. And also, we sell data to call center and to collection agencies in order to improve the interaction with the customers and things like that. So yes, I do believe it can be a new stream, but we have a lot to learn.
Okay. Before we get into another couple of points on data and AI, because I think it's going to be a very important discussion, especially on consent management and how we're reporting and tracking success, let's talk about price and price increases. So, like 2 or 3 part question. Number one, in your businesses, have you implemented price increases over the last 6 months? If you haven't, why not? If you have, how have you used data to figure out which products you should be increasing? And maybe, Alfonso, can you start us off and say, maybe not only in your own business, but how have you seen other companies use data to intelligently increase prices?
Price affects logically. In terms of the licenses we have installed in our clients, and they are not in cloud, inside their systems. In our contracts, we have the IPC, the price index for a year, and usually we have to say, okay, that's fine, we cannot increase you the price 7% for a year because I have clearly the risk to lose the client. Basically, it's this. So it's affecting. No, because we are selling at the same price. It's affecting because we have contracts in which we are including the price increases. The inflation is very high, but at the end, the companies are saying that you cannot give me this increase because it's not fair. Well, it's not fair. It's a license. In terms of the data we are selling to companies in databases, as we are managing a lot of volumes, price is maybe not the key variable we are managing because we have licenses for long-term time, and sometimes if somebody's paying, I don't know, imagine 100 euros for all the data available in cloud in a platform, and we are updating everything. So we have not been affected by these 2 years. In fact, there's a curious data that is before the pandemic we were 3 months not doing budget. And after March, we are 25 or 26 months doing budget every month. So it has been very curious. Pricing is not affecting our business at this point in time.
Raymond?
Well, with us, it's actually quite pragmatic, meaning basically before that we had like a routine, like every 2 years we took a part of the customer base and then did the price increase there. And then did a product over product over product. At the moment, we basically, we have not increased the prices the past 6 months. So we kept those prices quite stable. In my personal opinion, it's also because of the fact that the prices we are asking in the market are quite high. And these customers that we are servicing are also getting smarter and smarter, and also know that, if they have to pay this with us, our competitors all over the market with all our online products. So it's not only the bigger businesses as us, but also the local guy around the corner who's doing the AdWords campaign for him for fairly low price than we are doing. So I think price for us is something we have to be careful on to switch on that button, so to say. For us, it's much more into selling in the proposition. So basically being this one-stop shop for online marketing, everything under one roof, that generates an extra value for the customer, so he doesn't need to shop for all products throughout the market. But if we look, for instance, to our basic products, like listing, etc., I think the margins are so healthy there. I do not believe, and also based on our data models, it's not the right time at the moment now to increase those prices quite heavily, as we used to did in the past. For instance, 3 years ago, in a review product, overnight it was increased by 9%. So to say, we got away with it.
Okay, I'm going to come back in a second and ask you how you're covering the EBIT range there, right? Because I'm sure your costs are going up at probably 5, 6, 7% over the last couple of months. So how maybe you're using data or AI processes to reduce your costs. Switzerland?
We do nothing with pricing. Same thing as Raymond. I think we are in the high price segment. We get the perfect segmentation. We have a pretty huge empowerment to the salespeople. They can do discounting and so on. So we do not use data, and we don't plan any price actions on our core install base. What we do, as I talked a bit about in Berlin, it's going more for the long tail, and there we come with a totally different pricing. There we start with 3 and with microtransactions, and we try to upgrade the customers to a normal price level over time. But on our core install base, we don't plan any price increase, and we don't really use any data to do some price optimization today.
How did you come up with the pricing strategy for the verticals?
For the verticals, it's based on the cost per transaction. So, the business value of a booking for an hairdresser, there is a market price for that, which is in Switzerland €3. So, that's you predict how much value do I deliver to these customers, and that's the price he's going to pay. Today, in the future, we want to go to a transaction-based pricing, and that's where will be very, very interesting. But that's at least 3 to 5 years away from today. Today, we have to build the critical mass of customers, their liquidity on the marketplace, and then we can start in optimize for pricing, going to price per transaction, and do all this kind of interesting thing. Today, we're not there yet.
Pricing in Greece?
John, customers demand more value and innovation from you, but they are not willing to pay for these services. And also because of the insecurity, as we said, they are price sensitive. So we kept the prices stable the last 3-4 years. And we try to break even because we have the expenses were increased, so we try to increase sales and to increase our EBITDA in order to break even.
Okay, thanks. So consent management, data management. So a lot of us have over the last 5, 6, 7 years invested a lot of money in reporting engines for our customers, right? Customers are going to invest. They want a return on that investment. We want to be transparent and show the customer, or a lot of customers who are interested, what the return was for the investment that they gave. Consent management is preventing a lot of companies from doing that successfully, because we used to show you, let's talk how much traffic you got, what became of that traffic, and now in a lot of the products that we offer, SEA, SEO, a lot of display, we're having trouble doing that, right, because of consent management. Is that causing problems for you, or have you figured out interesting ways to communicate the value of the products you're now selling to customers differently? How are you getting around it or dealing with it? Alfonso, can you help us in what you're seeing in the market?
The way we're working with our clients in B2B and in B2C, is for contactability and for campaigns, and it's true that we have to enrich all the information they have with a lot of variables about consumption, income, and other data, who is helping them to, firstly, to prepare the best target, secondly, to prepare a better campaign, and to manage this campaign. As they are doing calling calls with mobile phones, email, and SMS, basically, and it's true that they are managing every time more heavily the return of their investment about campaigns. In this case, the price is affecting. The price is affecting because what they are demanding is more go to a success possibility more than buying information or renting information to prepare campaigns. This is in B2C. In B2B, sometimes it's very difficult with the big companies because in some cases, believe me, they are not using all the database to do the campaigns, curiously. So what they are demanding here is more accuracy in terms of, for example, the activity of the companies they are managing, because in Spain we have not the SIC, we have the CNAA, which is a very old system to structure all the activities. So it's maybe the most important demanding we are receiving from clients is, please, my friend, put the activities clearly, because if we are using an old system, what we are doing to help them to perform in this case, crawling, scrapping, and we are taking with, well, I think natural language processes, etc., some other structure about the activities, maybe with a shorter list, but more focus on where. And they are measuring this, but in B2B it's difficult for the companies to establish a ROI, because sometimes they are doing the campaigns wherever the marketing director is thinking. So it's more in B2C.
Raymond?
Yeah, with us, if you look to the consent part, yeah, basically, it's also like Alfonso saying, we are also advising when we are talking to our own customers, when they take our products, is to be explicit as possible when you do, for instance, the cookie consent with the traffic coming on the website, because that also, in the end, we see that helps, that's more acceptance on that consent from customers coming in on the website, which we can use for basically building the reports for the customers to see what has become of the leads coming onto the website. We do see that those reports, because of the whole consent management problem, so to say, contain less data for them. But in the end, it's still of interest of the SMBs that we are servicing. And also, to be quite honest, we have a lot of small customers, and they are not maybe looking for the most, how would you call it, the most sophisticated report. It's quite basic what they need, and therefore, with the consent management as it is right now, it's still sufficient for them to see an extra value in this report. But on the other hand, if you're talking to customers, and every now and then I'm calling them myself as well, they just tell you, yeah, I know I've got it. Yeah, I see that you haven't opened it the last 3 quarters. Yeah, I know. But so it's also a bit of the added value for the customers on that reporting that you're selling. You see that they want to use it as some kind of a control mechanism when they are renewing their product, like, okay, what became of it? But they're not really actively using it a lot.
Okay. So Stefano's nodding.
Same thing, the customers, we provide the usual report on the presence, on the campaigns, on the bookings, but that's it. I mean, there is no that's probably one of the things we don't do well. It's, we provide just basic reports and the customers are okay with that. On the verticals, totally different story. Then we do even this prediction, if you invest, then you'll get. This is a completely different story. And I think this will be the future. And I think the future of it will get more interest in the reporting in the future once the Digital Markets Act will be in place, that Google, Apple, Meta, and all these companies have to open up their API and let us use the data they have. So then that's when the data piece becomes interesting for us. Until then, basic stuff, and the customers are okay with that.
Okay.
Regarding BBC, I think advertising and promotion plays a crucial role. That's why during the pandemic we invested heavily in above-the-line communication in order to increase top-of-mind awareness. According to a survey conducted, people regard us as a traditional company. They regard us as a pretty company, so we have to invest money in order to change that image, to give a more modern image, a company with new and innovative products and services, and also to build our image and part of the psychology of our people. That's why we heavily invest in television, in radio. Hopefully, we belong to a group of companies that holds two main TV stations and few radio stations in Greece, so it's quite cost-effective for us. Regarding B2B, I think we have we need to have as much multiple points of contact with the customer as possible. And in the past, what we did, we visited once the customer during the renewal of the contract. That's it. So we have to prepare this, to develop these contacts. I mean, through automation, through SMS, through emails, through the phone calls from the customer service. And what we do in my organization, we are in the process of developing a self-service application in order to give the opportunity to the customers to update content, to add content, to see all the financial data, to see the reporting, to see things like that. So I think this is one of the priorities for the next period.
Let's stick with the idea of customer service for a second, right? We all know there's opportunity using data and different channels that have become ubiquitous, right? With B2B companies, WhatsApp, text, chat. Are you seeing a significant pull from your customers? Hey, we want to interact with you like this, number one. Number two, if not, are you looking at different service models for parts of your customers to either serve them better or be a lot more efficient about how you do things in customer service?
I think for us, this is the main challenge for the next period. I mean, we have started discussions about moving to a subscription model. So I know that a lot of you have already developed that in your organization successfully, but I think it needs a careful planning and preparation because it affects all the matters of the organization and all the activities of the organization. But I think it's the one way to go, because in order to invest in new technology, in order to invest in new business development, in order to invest maybe in order to attract talents in specialties that there is shortage in the market, you need money, you need resources. So the only way to do that is to save money by automation. By automation and conducting people and to renew people without the need to visit personally the customer.
Give us a couple of examples of where you're planning, if you haven't yet, on automating some of your service processes.
First of all, how we contact the customers. I mean, so we are thinking about to create a customer service team in order to communicate regularly with the customer through automation. And also, we fully digitalize the back office process in order to make the life of the sales rep easier. And also, we gave full access to full monitoring and reporting to our sales rep.
So how are you automating a customer service process? You said you're contacting customers.
We are thinking about that.
Oh, you're thinking about it, okay.
We have done that, yes.
How would that work, do you think? You got an example?
We have an example on the, so the specific answer is we are doing, for example, ticket routing depending on the customer issue automatically using Watson. We've been implementing the systems, we have operating the system for the last 3 years, so Watson takes the tickets, understands which languages, which for Switzerland is a big pain, 3 languages, understands what is the problem area and sorts out the ticket in 22 different queues that then gets to the right agent. So this was a big improvement in productivity. However, I think the big jump in the customer service, it's by differentiating the customer service depending on the customer segment. It's not improving the today customer service for today customers, but finding, using technology, a complete automated service model for customers that don't pay a lot of money. Because historically, all of our companies have been doing business with 20, 30% of the market, not more than that. If we want to grow in the long tail and have, really grow in new customers, we have to address different price points. We have to have self-service models, and we don't have to bother our customers or the new customers with customer service. Low touch, one click, digital, no service, with a very, very low price point. That's where we plan to grow. I talked in Berlin about going and making all our product available for free and then upgrading in microtransaction. If you build such a business model, then you have to massively reduce the customer service for this amount of customers. So historically, to give you some figures, historically we had 100,000 SMB as customers in Switzerland. Over the last 1.5 years, we acquired 100,000 new customers. So we doubled our customer base. And if we do this by offering free products and microtransaction, if we do this, maintaining the same customer service engine, you kill the company because your cost will explode. We will go through the roof. And so what we did is to say, for all the new stuff, all the new customers buying free or microtransaction, there is no customer service. There is not. There is a portal. You go there, you do the stuff you want to do with yourself. You have only answer by email, by going through our portal, by issuing tickets. It's automated answer. You have no right to a customer service. And that's then what makes your company healthy and brings your company to a growth path. If you start to automate and re-engineer and perfectly engineer your customer service today, you will never be able to grow because you're not being able to go after the long tail and to grow new customers.
I think artificial intelligence will have a huge impact on customer service. I mean, we have extensively used AI chatbots for ourselves and for our customers in order to answer the most frequent questions. And by answering more than 50% of the questions, we improve the satisfaction of the customer and also cut costs for the organization. Also improve the customer service by building consumer behavior patterns, and we can use these patterns in order to answer when the customer contacts the organization, in order to answer effectively the customer, and also the utilization of natural language programming. I mean by real-time analysis of customer service, emails, chats, and the communication. We can understand the communication between the customer service and the customer, and so give us the opportunity in order to improve the customer satisfaction via understanding the level of frustration, via understanding the need of escalation and things like that. So I do believe that AI can be the next step in customer service.
Okay, thanks. I've got one more question, but if anybody have a burning question they want to put to the guys? Okay, so my last question is as following. The last hour of the discussion has proven that the kind of talent that we need to grow organizations is changing. How are you making your businesses sexy for the type of talent that you need to recruit now, which is different than it was 5 years ago, very different than it was 10 or 15 years ago? Raymond, you want to start?
Yeah, well, we try to do it in the most open and transparent way to tell our stories towards new candidates. We do experience, probably like all of you, that it's difficult to get these talents from the market. Especially, I'm situated in the region of Amsterdam. There are a lot of, like Booking, etc., a lot of interesting companies for them to go to instead of, Juvia. But yeah, we are a small company. We're only 68 FTE. So we're quite small, but we also try to cultivate more this skill-up mentality. Basically, if you visit our office, it's totally different than it was like 2-3 years ago. And that's basically the tale that we want to ride, is because you can maybe offer more in wages, but that just goes that far. It's the open, transparent story, and try to lure them into basically a story of transition. And we see that the people who are interested in that, they also do choose us over others to come to work. But it's because of the transition story and that they can build upon, and that they have the chance there to grow themselves as well, that they step on board.
Yeah, I think that this is, as I said, the consumers regard us traditional organizations because we used to be printing companies, and now we have to change that image. I think that the answer is through communication. That's why in our communication in TV commercials and radio spots, we try to communicate that modern image. We show pictures of our offices, picture of our people, young people, you know, with technological equipment, and also try to convey the culture of the company. I mean, the dress code, the way they communicate with them. So in every way, you must do that. Yeah.
Well, I think the best thing to attract talent is to be a talented company too. So international environment, focus on technology, and help to the people to have their own lives and their work lives with teleworking at home, if the place is so far, opportunities in other countries, more focus in data scientists, very close to the client, a lot of communication. So nothing different, I think, in terms of how you have to manage the people and to open opportunities to everybody that want to apply. For example, now we are watching a new people in Portugal, so the position is open for the people here or the people inside the company. If somebody would like to go, we will help them with houses, etc., etc. So nothing different than in the past. But the people is more talented now. We have a lot of data scientists, more mathematician people, more statistics, more digitals, younger. Well, it's life.
Last 30 seconds to you, Stefano.
Yeah, so we cannot hire software developers and data scientists. This is a fact. And so we rely on external partners. We have 5 people in Greece, 2 in Ukraine, 2 in Portugal, 3 in Belgium. I mean, we have people all over the place in developers. For the rest, we tell the people, you will not work on the directory business because the directory business is dead. And people say, oh, finally you got it. You know, in hiring talent, we always say, look, you know, we know this business is dead. We're doing something different. You can build the future. And we don't put these people in working on the directory business. That's how we get talent. You know, we just acknowledge that our business is dead. And they can build something new based on our force, on, you know, on our penetration, huge customer base, and salespeople, and innovation, and all this kind of stuff. And this attracts a lot of talents.
Thank you very much, guys. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.